Hello friends, and welcome to this week's Friday Fire. In John chapter 10, Jesus is in the middle of a discussion with the Pharisees over the spiritual blindness that they have concerning the miracles, wonders, and signs that are going on in Jesus' ministry. And this discussion all stems from two distinct miracles. One that happened in John chapter 5 at the Pool of Bethesda with a lame man, and in John chapter 9, which was the healing of the blind man, but it occurred on the Sabbath day. And the prevailing religious thought of that day was, if you want healing or deliverance or victory in your life, then you need to come Monday through Sunday through Friday to get those things. But on the Sabbath day, you're not supposed to receive a healing or have any kind of miracle happen in your life. And Jesus is basically saying, y'all are blind. You're blind as a bat. And then he goes into the parable of the sheepfold and how that if anyone comes into a sheep pen any way but through the door, the same person would be a thief and a robber. And there is a porter, a watchman, a gatekeeper, a sheep gatekeeper, if you please, that's stationed outside the door of the sheep pen that is readily recognized by the porter as being the shepherd of sheep that's in that pen. And so he will let that person come in and call his own sheep. And then in verse 4 he says, and when he puts forth his own sheep, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice, and a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. I could not help but think as I read this in my devotion this week, how that with the advent of the information age, it is without saying that the average person here in the United States at least would be bombarded with at least 1,000 different voices every single day. You've got the voice of politicians, you've got salesmen, you've got Walmart, you've got the grocery store, you've got your supervisor, you've got your spouse, your kids, your parents, your grandparents, your close friends, distant friends. There's enemies, and with radio and television and books and the internet, emails and Facebook and Twitter, it would not be a stretch to say that the average person is bombarded with over 1,000 different voices every single day. But out of all of those voices, I have reduced them down to 4 categories of voices that we have to contend with on a daily basis. Number one, there's the voice of the world. Buy this and you'll be happy. Have this career and you'll be rich if you'll do this. Even in religious circles, even in the church world, there's voices that are telling you this is the best church you can go to. This is who the Antichrist is. This is what is going to happen. No, you don't need to listen to any of those voices. This is the right way to follow. And when you mix all of that down to the average person, it brings absolute total chaos and confusion in their life. Then there's the voice of the devil that says, Jesus is just a fairy tale, and followers of Jesus are nothing more than religious hypocrites. Then you have the voice of your flesh that says, if I sacrifice and give my life totally to Jesus, look at what I'm going to have to give up. Look at what I'm going to lose. That's what the voice of the world, the voice of the devil, and the voice of your flesh will say. Then in the middle of all of those voices, there is the voice of God that is crying out for you to know Him. Not just know about Him, but to know Him in the power of His resurrection. And yes, even sometimes, as Paul told the Philippian people, in the fellowship of His sufferings. But the voice that you listen to the most will be the voice that you will be the most familiar with. See, I know many people have friends literally all around the world now, but there's several voices that I know distinctly and clearly that I instantly will recognize when I'm talking to them on the phone, even if they sound hoarse like I do because of all this pollen and crud going on in the world. I think about Megan and Missy's voice. I think about my grandchildren's voice. I think about my mom's voice. I think about my brothers and sisters that I can instantly recognize. But there's a voice that is more clearer to me than any other voice on this earth, and that's the voice of my wife, Pam. I know her voice. I know her voice because I have spent 36 years living with her, being married to her. And so it's understandable that I know her voice better than any other voice in the world except God the Father's. The voice that you listen to the most will be the voice that you will be most familiar with. The voice that you spend time listening to the most will be the voice that you more quickly recognize and understand. So the question today is, whose voice do you spend the most time listening to? He's speaking, friends, and He wants to speak to you very clearly and distinctly today. Join us beginning tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. in Box Springs, Georgia at Lakeview Full Gospel Church. The church is located at 4101 Highway 352 in Box Springs, Georgia, just off of Highway 80 east of Columbus, Georgia. Tonight and Saturday night at 7 o'clock p.m., then Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Just a few days, we'll be traveling back to Kenya for April the 12th through May the 1st. And you can be a part of helping us in this next Kenya outreach by going to our website, revivalnow.org/give. You can also go to the schedule page or to the news page, catch up on all the news and happenings in Revival Now International. Friends, we love you, and I'm praying that you will listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit this weekend and that the fire of God would fall in you and on you this weekend. God bless.